Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Affirmation Addict podcast. This is Payal Agarwal, and today I'm going to be answering the question of what is the right way to practice affirmations. I get so many questions in my inbox about if you guys are practicing affirmations the correct way, if this strategy is good, if that strategy is good, and basically that's what I want to tackle, the actual correct way to practice affirmations. And I think this is a really popular question, so if you think this episode is something that you need, tune in, and I hope you find this helpful. Hi everyone, my name is Payal Agarwal, and I want to welcome you to the Affirmation Addict podcast. Affirmations have changed my life, and now it is my mission to help you use them to change yours by using affirmations every day to manifest things your way. My goal is to make affirmations attainable and accessible to every single person, including you, because you have the ability to take control and create your reality. So come with me on my journey and let's see what we can manifest together. Hello, and welcome back, my loves. And before I really answer your question, I just wanted to take a second and just say hi. I miss you all. I know I have not been podcasting for the past, 10 days, 20 days. And that's just because there was some personal stuff going on, and it was my choice to learn how to surrender. And I will be recording a podcast episode about what I learned through this experience. So I wanted to get back with a bang and answer a big question that a lot of you have asked me in the past. And I really, really hope you find this helpful. So today's question that I'm answering is, what is the right way to practice affirmations? And the answer, I think, is going to surprise you. The answer is, there is no right way. There is no amount of times that you have to practice affirmations. There is no certain time of day that you're supposed to do affirmations. There's no certain method that you have to do affirmations. Affirmations in the end are just the way you speak, the way you think, the way you talk. And affirmations, the three main rules with affirmations are as follow. I will go through them with you. But in terms of how you actually practice them, there's no rules. Okay, so there's 3 rules, and those 3 rules, I'll go through them one by one. And the first one is always say your affirmations in present tense. So that means you say it as if it's happening now. Even if it's going to happen in the future, you don't talk about it in future tense, because when you talk about it in future tense, by law of attraction, it will stay in the future. So say you want a new car. I have a beautiful red new Corvette. Not, I will have a beautiful red new Corvette in 10 years. So that's like, even with goal setting, basically affirmations are another form of goal setting, or they can be seen as another form of goal setting. When we set goals, we put a timeline on it, but we always talk about goals as if they're in the future. So that's why some people really struggle with goal setting, because it almost never happens, and it doesn't happen in the way they want to or the amount of time that they want it to. And that's why when you say it in the present tense and you think about it in the present tense, it's way more powerful, because truly the only moment and the only thing we have control over is the present moment. And so when you're affirming, you are trying to shift something, and you're trying to shift that present moment that is going to come. The second rule is as less or as minimal negative words as possible. I don't know how to say that in proper English. I know that sounds weird, but try not to say negative words in your affirmations. So instead of saying, I am not stressed about my exam, you can say, I take my exams and I complete my exams with ease. So try not to say the words like stressed or frustrated, because those words still carry energy, and words, no matter how you're saying them, even if it comes before with not stressed, stressed or not bothered, the energy within those words is still powerful. Like words like stressed or hate or bother or frustration, those still hold kind of lower vibrational energy versus words like love and ease and happiness obviously contain more positive and lighter energy, which is the energy frequency that you want. So that's the second rule. And the third rule is to make sure you actually believe that these affirmations are possible. Even if you don't know how, even if you don't know where, even if you don't know in what manner it's going to come true, at least when you're saying them, have the kind of openness that it's possible. And the best way, if you feel really resistant when you're saying these affirmations, add the phrase, I'm in the process of believing, because that kind of helps your mind start to shift its consciousness and shift the awareness that this is even possible, because some of the things that we want seem so impossible, and that's okay. That is so natural, especially when you're starting out or you're trying to manifest something that you've always wanted and you just have never been able to get. So believe that it's possible. There's a couple other rules, like in terms of visualizing while you're affirming, but for the sake of this question specifically, how to practice affirmations, those were the three main rules in terms of setting up your affirmations. But in terms of practicing, as I said earlier, there are no rules. There's no right way or wrong way to practice. And that's where it comes that you need to understand the power that you hold within you and follow your intuition. I practice affirmations differently every single day. For me, some days my affirmations are written down in my journal. Some days my affirmations are said out loud while I'm in bed. Some days I don't have the time to write them down or say them out loud in bed, so I just say them mentally, or I just read them on my own Instagram feed and I'll just look through them and look at it. And that's the best I can do. But the whole point is there's no rules, and that's with law of attraction, that's with manifestation. We think it's like we take it on as like another kind of project, that this is my manifestation project. Like I am going to manifest a new home maybe, and that's my project, and I have to check off every single box of that project, like a task that has to be done so I can get that. But that's just a limiting belief that you're putting around it. In manifestation, in affirmations with law of attraction, the rule is that there are no rules. Like it happens no matter what. Like we don't have control. The only thing you have control over is how you're thinking and how you're feeling. It's not about you're doing that checklist and say, I visualize, I affirm, I meditate, I play with crystals, I use essential oils, I do all of those kind of checklist things. That doesn't mean my manifestation is going to come true. That doesn't mean my affirmations are going to work. My affirmations only work from the inside. And that's why the way you practice them is completely up to you. You need to find what works for your schedule, what works for your kind of experience, for your situation. And that can change too. Maybe right now you have a 2-hour morning commute and a 2-hour drive on the way back, and your way to practice affirmations is saying them out loud in the car, and saying them for 10 minutes right when you get in the car and 10 minutes when you're about to reach work. Maybe that's your ritual right now. And maybe when you change your job, you live right next to work and you don't have a long morning commute. So maybe you carve out 10 minutes of your day at work and set that time aside that you go into a conference room and journal and write down affirmations in your journal for 10 minutes. And maybe 2 years later, something else shifts and you quit your job, or you retire, or you have a completely different job where you're traveling and you're not bound to an office. And maybe then you practice your affirmations at night before you sleep and say them while you're looking at yourself in the mirror. So your affirmations, the way you practice them, there's no right or wrong way. And I know that's not the answer that all of you are looking for, but I want to share that my goal with everything I'm doing is for you to believe in yourself, for you not to feel dependent on anybody else, whether it is me, whether it is your significant other, your mom, your best friend, whoever it is, or whatever it is that you might be dependent on. I want you to know that you don't need that. You don't need anybody else but yourself. You have all of the answers within you, and whatever is calling you that day in that moment, that's what you need to do. And if it helps you to set a routine, definitely go set that routine. But if you miss a day in that routine, don't be so hard on yourself. Figure out a way to do it in another way that works for you. The whole intention and the effort behind practicing affirmations is way more powerful than in what way, in what manner, at what time you're practicing those affirmations. And so, because my answer was super vague, and I know that, I do want to give you guys different ideas of how you can practice affirmations, different ways you can, even if you alter them. But these are some of the ways that I have practiced or I have suggested to different people who ask me, because I think all of these work, and some of them are ways that people might not have expected. So, I'm just going to go one by one and explain them. And these are probably in order of how frequently I practice them. And so if that kind of helps you, if there's something that you're more interested in, that's how you can use it as your judgment. So for me, my absolute favorite way to practice my affirmations is actually writing them down. And it's not saying them out loud. My favorite way to practice affirmations is writing them down. And I like writing them down. I like writing them down in different I like writing different affirmations down. I don't write down the same affirmation over and over. I write them down in a jumble. I write them down in kind of different categories, whatever comes to mind, whatever I'm really dealing with that day is what I create affirmations for. And if I can't think of something, or if there's something I'm really focusing on, I will look at different affirmations I've given in the past for different categories. So if it's for clarity, if it's for calmness, if it's for a job or a new project, that's what I will write affirmations for. But I write different affirmations in my journal in one sitting. And normally I would write about 10 to 15 affirmations in one sitting. Another thing I do also in my journal is write down affirmations in the form of thank you. That, I think, is a really powerful way for people, and especially for our minds, to understand that it is possible. Because when we say thank you, you're saying thank you for something that's already been done. So if I, for example, I want $1 million. If I say I'm thankful for the $1 million that is coming my way, that sometimes seems more probable and more realistic than I have $1 million. So sometimes that's easier for our minds and ourselves to understand, because it's saying it in the form of gratitude. So writing them down is definitely my favorite way to do it. And I always write different affirmations. I rarely repeat the same affirmation over and over unless it's something I'm really working on. Normally I say and write down different affirmations at every time. So my second favorite way to practice affirmations is saying them out loud. And this is my second favorite way because for me, and I think most people, it's hard to say your affirmations out loud if you know other people can hear. And I get it. It's a judgment thing, and sometimes people think it's weird. Sometimes people might not get what we're doing, and they're just thinking we're crazy. And I get it, and that's natural, and take your time to work through it. But realize that even the words you're speaking are affirmations. So maybe you can slip in some affirmations into a normal conversation rather than going in front of the mirror right next to your husband or your best friend that you're saying affirmations out loud and they might be judging you. Because maybe that's not what you're ready for right now, and that's okay. But what I always do to say my affirmations is while I'm in bed, I say them to myself. And you don't have to scream them. You don't have to say them really, really loud. But I say them out loud while laying in bed. Or when I used to drive to work, my work commute when I was working was about an hour each way at my last client. And I would spend at least 30 minutes every single morning saying affirmations in the car. And trust me, in that car, people probably thought I was singing my favorite song because I would say affirmations like I was singing my heart out. Like I would say them with so much pride, so much passion, and it worked. Like that probably was the most powerful form of affirmations because saying them makes it so much more real, but it takes a little bit of getting over that resistance. So even if you start small and just start with one affirmation that you say out loud, and it could just be, I'm so thankful for today. Even if you just start small, start saying them and see how you feel and see a little shift. Another way I really like practicing affirmations is by setting it as my wallpaper. So on my phone, and even for all of you, if you're following me on Instagram or on Facebook, obviously, I have hundreds of affirmations. So you can literally take a screenshot of those and set it as your wallpaper, because we look at our phones hundreds of times throughout the day. And I'm not exaggerating. So instead of having a picture of you and your mom as your wallpaper, maybe you could have an affirmation for something that you're really working towards, or for something that really makes you feel peaceful and joyful. That is so powerful. And another thing I do is at my desk, I always have affirmations. And this, especially when I was working, I had affirmations written on my desk on a little sticky note. And more specifically, on my desk or in my laptop, like right where your wrist sits on your laptop. I know most of us have laptops these days, or computers, right where my wrist sits, because these are things we look at all the time. And these are different places that we see all the time. And just those subconscious reminders, basically like that marketing concept that the more you see it, the more it's engraved in your head, like product placement. So it's like affirmation placement, and it's really, really powerful. And that's something that I've been doing probably since I was like 15 or 16. I would place affirmations in places that I could see it. And normally we spend a lot of our days working, whether it's on the computer, whether it's school, wherever we are, we're normally working on a computer of some sort. So I always used to place affirmations near my computer or working area, because I can see it, and it registers in my subconscious mind. Even if I don't even take out the time to read it, I look at it, and our minds are so powerful. Reading the things that are positive still will shift your vibration. And another way to use some affirmations is put them on things that you use a lot, whether it is on top of your notebook, or on a water bottle, or on like your school binder. And I'm trying to think, I'm totally blanking right now, but something that you use a lot. Like even your phone case, like you can write affirmations on your phone case, like something that's always visible in your line of vision that you see all the time, but you don't think about it. This could also be like your mirror in your bathroom, like where you stare brushing at your teeth. Those are different places where you can write down different affirmations, and just seeing them is really, really helpful. And specifically, I know I mentioned the water bottle. The reason the water bottle is so powerful is because water is a fluid form of energy, and our bodies are 96% water. So the water we drink is infused with some sort of energy. So if we can control that by writing affirmations on those water bottles that's holding our water, the energy of the words goes into the energy of the water, and that water goes into you. So you are absorbing that positive energy. And that's why it's really, really helpful. Okay, so another way you can use affirmations, and this one might sound a little excessive to some people, but for some people, this is exactly what they need, depending on how powerful it is. And it can go a couple different ways. So say you are trying to help somebody heal. You have someone, maybe they're a family member or a really close friend, that they're either going through something, they're ill, something's going on with them, and you want to help heal them. You can write affirmations for them. And what you can do, you can just write them like using their name. Like maybe if I want to say an affirmation for Tom, like Tom is healthy and happy. Or what you can do is, I know it sounds creepy, but I promise you it's powerful, it works. If it's someone who's like in a really sticky situation and you just want to help them out, you can print out a picture of them and write affirmations on top of that picture. Put it on the back of that picture. You can write affirmations just showing like basically the universe that picture plus those energetic words are going to that person. But similarly, say you are trying to get into a certain school or a college or an MBA program at a certain school, you can print out either a picture of that school, a name, basically something that represents that school, and write down affirmations for getting into that school on top of that picture. And that can go for anything, whether it's a company you want to work for, a new house that you want and it's your dream house. It's almost like vision boarding and affirmations combined. You can print out a picture of something specific and write down affirmations on it. And that's why like abundance checks, those work really well too. And on every abundance check that I write myself, I will always write an affirmation for abundance on it as well, because it basically just helps the physical kind of picture of it align with the energetic words. And that's something I love doing. And the last thing I love doing with affirmations is just thinking them. Like you even mentally repeating those affirmations is more powerful than doing nothing at all. So say all of this is too excessive for you, you don't know where to start just reading them and mentally repeating them. If that's all you can do, that is more than enough. And for some people, you like all of these ideas and you can use all of these ideas. But for some people, just mentally saying it out loud is all they can do at that moment, and that's okay. And the biggest thing I want to explain to you is the way in which you practice your affirmations. No one cares. No one needs to know. It's your relationship with your inner self, with your highest self. And it's your relationship with the universe or whatever kind of higher energy, higher power you believe in. The way you practice affirmations is not something anybody is judging and something that you shouldn't judge yourself. So be gentle with yourself. And even if you can't practice affirmations every single day, that's okay. That's genuinely okay, because for some people, when they practice every day, it's an obsessive thing. And rather than they can't surrender, so they say those affirmations every single day like they're begging for it. So for some people, you don't need to practice every single day. It, in the end, is the way you're thinking. Are you thinking positively? Are you thinking negatively? Do you know that's what you want is coming, or do you not know? And that's really the difference, is that certainty, that positivity, and that positive and high vibrational energy that you're giving out. In the end, that's what you really need to get what you want. But for most of us in our day-to-day lives, we get triggered, we get frustrated, we get sad, we get really kind of pushed around energetically through so many different things, whether it's a bad situation, whether it's a TV show that makes you cry, whether it is your boss. There's so many things that trigger us and don't bring out only positive emotions, which is why practicing affirmations is so powerful. But for some people, the best they can do in this moment is just look at them on my Instagram feed, and that's okay too. Just be gentle with yourself through this process. And if you do get some free time, write it down. If you do get some free time, say them out loud in the mirror, or say them while you're laying in bed, or say them before you go to sleep. Like just have fun with them. The whole point of practicing affirmations is for you to feel better. Your practice and practicing affirmations should never stress you out. That should be your form of release. And for me, I probably give myself about 5 minutes max a day to practice affirmations throughout the day, like designated time that I give. And it keeps me going, and that's what works for me. But for some people, if that's a big stress, try 10 seconds, try one affirmation, and that's all you do for the whole day. Start slow and figure out what works for you. You're not doing anything wrong. And whether you're practicing or not, you're not doing anything wrong. Maybe affirmations aren't even for you. Maybe you need to meditate more, or maybe you need to practice yoga and then do affirmations. There's no rules. All that you need to know is that you have everything you need within you, and everything that you're doing is okay. Like, if you don't like your current reality, the best you can do is change something. And for me, the biggest change that I made and that I continue to make when I don't like something is I practice affirmations. And the shift I notice is immediate. And that's why I'm sharing this information, because it's immediate, it's easy, it's almost mindless. So it doesn't take a lot of effort. It's just getting rid of the laziness. And for me, sometimes I'm too lazy or I'm too sad to get out my journal and write. And sometimes I just start talking it through in my head and saying affirmations, and that works for me. So make sure you're enjoying this process. And if you have more questions, I will be having some podcast episodes where I just answer one question. They might be shorter, they might be longer, see where it goes. But if you have more questions that you really want me to dive into, send them my way. And regarding this episode, I want to hear what types of new ways you're going to be practicing your affirmations. If this episode taught you something new, if you were inspired by this episode, whichever kind of effect this episode could have on you, I really want to hear your thoughts. So feel free to either just send me a message, share it on your story and tell your friends about it, write a review in any kind of way that you want to communicate with me. Anything helps. I just appreciate just hearing what you have to say. So even something as simple as a DM is so meaningful, and I read everything. A lot of people always message me that I'm super responsive, and I really do try and be responsive, because it takes your energy to take out the time to really message me, and I honor that energy and I honor that time, and I do my best to get back to everybody, whether it's email, whether it's messages. I get hundreds a day, but that is a priority. That's on my to-do list. That's a big task for me, is to respond and interact with all of you. So whatever kind of feedback you want to give me, and whatever kind of inspiration or impact that you got from this episode or from anything that I've been sharing with you, I would love to hear it and just talk to you more about how you're doing. So please feel free to message me at any point. And other than that, I know it's holiday season, so I will be having a couple more episodes, hopefully, before the end of the year. That is a big goal for me, to start sharing more podcast episodes, because that's probably the biggest thing people ask me for is podcasts. And it is my goal to have at least one podcast a week, but I'm not going to put pressure on myself. I surrender to everything I'm going through. So that is my goal, but if that doesn't happen, I apologize in advance. And I just want you to know that I hope this episode was really, really helpful. And I just appreciate you for sticking with me, for supporting me, for sending me love. And I hope that you know I am giving you all that love and support back 10 times in the way that you are giving it to me, just because you all mean the absolute world to me. So have a beautiful rest of your day. Talk to you guys soon. Mwah. That's all I have for you guys, and I just want to say thank you again for spending some time with me. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, head over to my social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to my website if you want to subscribe to my email list, which is affirmation-addict.com. I cannot wait to hear from you guys, and I will talk to you guys super soon. Have a good one, you guys. Bye!